friends, I'm horrifically sunburned. And yes, I know. Just look. Look how bad that looks. Okay, so I went to the river yesterday, Tot River State Park, one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life, with my neighbor and all of her kids and some of her kids' friends. And there's like places to tube, and there are all these rocks you can jump off of into this beautiful clear water. It's all river rock lined, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And we kind of made a day of it. We brought sandwiches and beach umbrellas and stuff like that. And in the 5 hours we were there, I applied sunscreen 3 times. We waited the 15 minutes you're supposed to wait after applying sunscreen to get back in the water. And yet, lobster face. Oh, I'm in pain, y'all. There's nothing I can do other than just stay out of the sun, and I'm not willing to do that. So, yeah. I might get cancer when I'm older. And when I go to the beach, I'm filming this on Sunday, the Sunday before I go to California, and you guys will be seeing this exactly a week from today, because I filmed tomorrow's Monday last week, but a week from today I will be back from California, so you'll be seeing it on the Monday after I get back. And who knows, I might be burned again from going to the beach there, but I will apply sunscreen every hour. So now that we've talked about how horrifically burned I am, let's get on to the questions, because I'm in pain and I'm scared to go outside because it hurts. The sun burns. Okay, and Rory keeps trying to lick the aloe vera off of me, which doesn't help situations. Alrighty, Kaelin Anderson says, "Hey BG, I have a dilemma and I need some guidance. We've been renting our place for 11 years. We are a family of 6 and live in a very small town. Our landlord is elderly and she is looking to sell our place. We have the option of buying it. We would need $1,538 a month, which is doable, but we would have to be very strict for the next 13 months with ourselves. My problem is we have some debt, some funeral bills." Dang it. Sorry, my screen just went away. So sorry. Okay. We have some debt, some funeral bills, medical bills, and credit cards that I feel like we should be working on getting those paid off, but I want to pay the house off in 13 months. Just not sure what the right thing for my family is. We could move and rent for a lot cheaper than the house payment and pay off the debt, but I'm not sure if I could find a place that would allow our fur babies, and I'm not willing to part with them. Any advice? P.S. Love your videos. Thank you, Kaelin. That's a bit of a tricky situation, because if you could own your home in 13 months and you could do it budget-wise, that's incredibly tempting. Now, I don't know how much debt you have, but unless it's just an absolutely insane situation, it's the only thing I can do is recommend following the Dave Ramsey steps. If you have debt, having debt on a house in addition to that is most likely going to not be a blessing to you. He always says when you buy a house you can't afford and you have all this debt and you're trying to do all these things at once, Murphy moves in. And who knows, I know you've lived here for a while, but you know, all of a sudden maybe you'll need to put a new roof on, or buy new appliances or something like that, and you won't be able to call the landlord on it. If you didn't have debt, and it was just we have to tighten the budget for 13 months, I would be like, go for it. Own your own home. A year of working really hard is totally worth it, but you have all this debt. I'm assuming you don't have savings. And if you can move somewhere and rent for a lot cheaper and get rid of all this debt, then I have a feeling that another great opportunity will arise for you. And it'll be a house that you can love and you can move into with a good down payment, and you can have a mortgage that you can afford and still be able to do other things. And you can do it in a way where you have a plan and you're in control, not as in a scramble. Oh, I don't want to move. What if I don't have a place? What if they don't allow me to have pets? That's what I worry for you. Now, I am living proof that no matter where you go, somebody will rent to you with pets. There's a market for it, so there are people that will do it. Now, they may charge you a pet deposit, they may charge you pet rent or something like that, but there are reasonable landlords out there that love pets and they love people that can care for pets, and I have no doubt that you can care for your pets, or else your current landlord would probably not be offering you a good deal. So what I would do in your situation is I would bite the bullet and move. Use that extra money that you're not paying for this house. Keep your budget tight. Spend that extra on getting out of debt. Build your 3 to 6 month emergency fund, and then build your down payment for this home that you can take your time looking for the perfect one, the one that'll suit your family for many, many years to come, and you can move in a way in which you have control and in which you have backup plans and the money to do everything the way you want to do. And while I understand that this is a very tempting opportunity, I would take that time and I would follow those steps in the right way, because I think it's going to be better for you. So once again, just my opinion, like all my answers to these questions are going to be through my life experiences and having talked to a lot of people about their problems and how those have turned out. So I wish you all the luck in the world, Kaelin, and I am sure you will be able to find a place for your fur babies, because they are super important. And I would never, ever, ever move anywhere that I had to get rid of Rory, who's out of frame, but she's on my pillows is where she is. Good dog. Alrighty. Next question is from Deborah Chin, and she says, I've been trying to create a budget to keep track of where my money is going for a good while now, but it's been a difficult task. I'm currently choosing / welcome to / encouraged to live at home with my parents whilst working for our family business at a restaurant. So I don't have any bills to pay, and the majority of my meals are free. That is an excellent deal. The only places that my money goes to tends to be the majority of to savings, eating out, and just a bit of personal spending when I feel like it. So should I continue to try and create a budget, or should I lay back and save what I've been saving? I make a pretty decent amount considering my occupation, and I'm currently saving for a down payment on a house and possibly a wedding as well. Thank you, BG. First of all, congrats on the wedding. Second of all, congrats on a really good, it sounds like a good living situation, that you have a good relationship with your family since you're living there and you're working in a restaurant. I would say you absolutely need a budget, and I would say, and I'm sorry you're having trouble with it, because I don't think you would have asked me this question if you weren't having trouble with it. I think that you will find, once you intentionally make a budget, that it will help you meet your goals. I understand if you don't have that many bills, it can be tempting to be like, I'll just kind of do whatever I want with my money, because I have enough extraneous that I can just kind of do whatever I want with it. But I have found that if you tell your money where to go at the beginning of the month, then the things that you want to accomplish get accomplished. Whereas if it's just kind of here and there, a little eating out, a little personal spending, I'll save what I can. Oh, I've got a wedding, might have a wedding coming up, should stock some stuff there, maybe save a little down payment on a house, that everything gets kind of watered down. And if you're not certain of where your money's going, there's stuff slipping through the cracks, which I bet you've noticed too, or else you wouldn't be interested in doing a budget. So I would create a very simple budget for yourself, and it sounds like you're in a good situation to do so. A lot of people that start budgets are in a much worse situation. They're not making a lot of money. They're trying to figure out how to cover all their bills, and the budget is their answer for that. But the richest people in the world make budgets to get things done. That's the way giant corporations and businesses work. That's the way I'm sure somebody Donald Trump hires makes a budget for him on what he spends for this and that. It's what you can do with this money by doing a budget is you can set your priorities, and you can make goals that you can then see a very clear timeline of when you can accomplish them. So what you can do, since you don't have any rent and very minor food costs, is you can go in and set yourself healthy budgets for things. So, right now you don't know what you're spending on restaurants, you don't know what you're spending on personal, but I would bet my left foot that you're spending more than you think you are. So, what I would do is I'd make a priority list. Your bills first, of course. Write down what your actual bills are. Set yourself lenient, reasonable amounts for eating out and for personal spending, and then keep track of what you spend. And that's probably what's happening, is you'll set a budget, but then you're not reconciling it. So how do you reconcile a budget is you have to, first you have to set a budget, let's just say for eating out, because that's fairly easy. And we'll say you want to spend $100 a month eating out. So you put that down, and that's giving yourself permission to go out and spend and eat $100 worth of eating out. Which is wonderful. There's a freedom that's associated with that. If I have this money to spend, I've earmarked it, I can still accomplish all of my goals and do this. And then when you go out to eat, you have to write it down. Whatever you spent, including your tip and everything, you have to come back to your budget and subtract whatever you spent from that $100, and then that'll tell you what you have left to spend for the month. Once you're at zero, you don't get to spend anymore. So, and that's the way it is with everything. Now, if you have a pretty good job, you say, and a lot of money left over, then what's really cool is in your budget, you get to decide where to put all that extra money. So you can prioritize and say, okay, here are my goals. I need to save my emergency fund. I want to start saving for a wedding. I don't think you said you had any debts. And then, X, Y, and Z. So then you can set aside $500 for X, $500 for Y, $500 for Z. And then when you have enough money, you feel like, well, this is enough. This is what I want for, the down payment on the house, or what I want to set aside for the wedding, or I want to set aside for my emergency fund, because you do need an emergency fund, or future car, future laptop, even fun stuff like that. Then you can then move your budgets around and say, all right, well, I can put more money towards this now. And I would set all of that savings aside in earmarked funds, as in savings accounts with the names on them. I use Capital One 360. They don't pay me to say this, but I can name my savings accounts, and I can have as many as I want. So I have a future car fund, a future blank fund, and I'd start putting that money in there every month. You have to reconcile the budget when you get back to it, but I guarantee that you'll see that there's freedom in this, that you'll be able to get the goals that you want to get accomplished, and you'll be able to spend without feeling bad about it. I could not imagine going back to the way I was in college, where I've got $500 in my bank account, I can buy this, and that was the gauge of what I could do. And I didn't start worrying about bills until about a week before they came up. Can I pay for this? Can I pay for this? And I realized you don't have some of those bills. But what you can do in this situation is use the budget to really make things happen for yourself. So I absolutely think you should use a budget, and it doesn't have to be as scary or as punitive as I think you're kind of treating it. So use it as a freedom marker. You can use this to set your goals and to accomplish them. So all the luck in the world to you there. Okie dokie. Jim1254 says, what would Budget Girl do? I have less, or JLM 1254. I have less than $10,000 left in student loan debt from my associate's degree that I'm currently snowballing. I'm considering going back to school for 1 year to become an LPN. School costs around $15,000. I have a family, so we also have my husband's student loans. After graduating from the school, I would likely make around $18 to $20 an hour in my area. My husband earns a great living, and we can live off of just his income once I graduate and put all the earnings towards our loans. Is it worth it to take out $15,000 more in student loans? We are 28. Also, I can currently do nothing with the associate's degree I have now. I would cash flow that college, or even put it off a little to save up the money. Say your husband has a pretty good income, but you both have debt. And I don't think that adding to student loan debt is going to help you enough to offset the income that you'll be making that much sooner. So, school takes years. A nursing degree will take at least 2 years. For your LPN, 2 years for an LPN, just about. And I would cash flow that semester to semester. Maybe you can pick up a job that isn't associated with your degree, or you and your husband can work that into the budget to save every month for maybe 6 months to pay for your first semester, and then save for your next semester, and then you're not having the same issue that you're having now with all of these student loans. So I'm not going to tell you, you know, don't go back to school until you pay off all your debt. That may not be reasonable for you. I would never consider going back to school until all of my debt was paid off, but I'm also in a field, you know, I can make use of my current degree. Also, I don't want to go back to school. I liked school, but I didn't like school. I could do without school. You'd have to pay me to go get a master's degree, basically, is what I'm saying. But I understand wanting to get more education under your belt to find a field that you would really enjoy. I wouldn't take on more debt for it. I would keep paying on your student loans. Obviously, that's what you're doing. But you say your husband has a good job. Maybe you could pick up some side work, and then I'd cash flow each semester. You know, maybe put off school for 6 months to build up enough to start funding that. But I would absolutely not go into more debt for another degree when you're already paying off debt. You're just adding eggs to a weak basket that may not be able to hold all of the eggs. So absolutely go back and get your degree, but pay cash for it and get rid of the rest of this debt, and then you will have the freedom to do whatever you want with that degree, and everything that you're making, everything that your husband's making, you can put towards your future, and you can do what you want with, and you won't be paying back the government or anybody else for something that, you know, is long ago or even worthless in the case of your associate's degree. Not that you said your degree was worth it, that you couldn't do anything with it. So that is my advice on that. Good luck. And my very best friend is a nurse, so I have the greatest respect for her, and I could never do what she does. But nurses are pretty amazing. So yes, absolutely go do that if that's your dream, but pay cash for it. Find a way to save up the cash for it, or make the cash for it. Alrighty, let us see. Alright, Donna C says, do you ever use checks? Do you use a check register, or do you just keep receipts for the debit card and any checks you write, if any? The latter, mostly. I have two checking accounts, one through an online bank and one through a local bank. And through the local bank, the checks that they gave me, which were free, have dual copies on them. But either way, you know, whether I write a check from one account or the other, and I didn't write many checks before I came to MENA, but here I have to all the time. You can't, they charge you at a lot of places around here, even utilities, to pay online. So you have to like go by and drop off a check or money. And I just refuse to pay $3 to pay my water bill online when I can just go through the little drive-through and drop the check off there. So yes, I do write checks. I also write checks at church for my tithe, because I never take out the money. And it's easier to keep track of charity contributions if you write checks. It just is. So all I do with any transaction, if I write a check or if I use my debit card, I save the receipt, or I write down what I spent on a little piece of paper, and I put it in my wallet, and then when I go to reconcile my budget to type everything in to make sure I know what I'm spending, I type it in there. And then I throw away the receipts, and I throw away the little slips of paper. So that's all I do. And at the end of the month, I check my bank account statements online against what I have in my budget, and that keeps me on track. So yeah, I don't have a problem using checks. I use probably 5 or 6 checks a month to pay my rent and utilities and anything that I can't. I mean, I've automated anything I can automate, and I pay online anything I can pay online just to avoid the paper. I don't automate anything that varies, but my cell phone bill and my internet bill and stuff like that is always the exact same amount, I just have them auto-drafted. And then anything that varies, like my electrical, my heat, my water, everything like that, I get them to email me or send me a bill, and then I pay it online if it's free, or I drop it off if it's a check, because I don't like fees. So yeah, and then I just record it in my budget, and we're all good. Alrighty, and then I have a congratulations. Budgets in Beauty, who's Kristen, said, "Happy Sunday, BG," and it's Sunday. You're always asking us to share our financial wins, and this one I feel like needs to be shared with you specifically, since you were the lifesaver in this situation. I started watching your channel a few months back when you paid for a car in cash. Now, I wasn't in need of a new car, but I remember you saying that you should always put money aside because things are going to happen. Thank goodness I did. last week, the pipe in my engine that delivers the coolant, air conditioning to my car somehow got torn. Now I know AC isn't a need for a car, but when it's summertime in the Midwest and you drive a lot for your job, AC here is almost more of a need than a luxury. Moving on, the family friend who always does the car repairs cheap was out for the summer, so I was at the mercy of shopping for the best price for the repair. The best price I could get was at $1,100. This was because to get the pipe and replace it, they had to tear through the dashboard. Now, to be honest, I didn't have set aside $1,100 for car repairs, but I had a fair amount, and I was able to throw at the issue without completely ruining my summer budget. Thank you, thank you, thank you for even putting the idea of saving for the unexpected into my ear this past spring. Without it, this would have been yet another charge on a credit card that I would pay off when I could. Please know that you're a lifesaver to so many people who have been working hard for a better tomorrow. Best wishes for a fantastic vacation. You more than earned it. That is so wonderful, Kristen. I haven't told you guys this yet because it's when you save for an emergency like that, when you always are saving for, future car repairs and everything, 'cause eventually it's going to clunk out. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, it's going to affect your life. But I had to send my car into the shop this week. Over the weekend, it started acting a little weird, and my check engine light came on. Weird as in, like, when I accelerate, it would kind of, like, fight me on it. And so on Monday, I dropped it off with my repair guy, and he said, he checked it out, and he said, you need some new engine coils. And I was just like, okay, well, fix it. and he told me it was going to be, what was it? Oh, $80. And so he called me back, and I was like, oh, fix it. And I just transferred $80 over from my my car repair fund, and that's all I had to think about it. Now later that day, he calls back and says, "Oh, we found the problem." And I was like, "I thought you already found the problem." He said, "While we were in there, we figured out why your coils needed replacing." He said there's a gasket or something that is leaking oil onto them, and if it keeps doing that, then we're just going to have to replace the new coils we put in like 4, 5, 6 months. And I was like, okay, well, what's it going to cost? And he quotes me, I think, what was it? It cost $230. No. Yeah, it was only $150 overall. Sorry. I was doing the math twice. Yeah, it only cost me $150 for both things. But I was able to just fix it. And if, a 2-minute phone call, two 2-minute phone calls in my day, I didn't have to worry. I immediately went onto my online bank account and typed in, just went to my emergency fund for that second one because I didn't have that much in my car repair fund. And then I just transferred over the money. And then I went back to work. So it's absolutely amazing how it would that would have derailed my life so much before. I would have been panicking. I would have immediately gotten extremely stressed. But because I've saved for this eventual emergency that's always going to happen, I was just able to deal with it and then move on with my day. And he returns the car to me later that day, and I gave him the money, and that was it. It wasn't a disruption of my life in any way, shape, or form. I just was able to pay the money. And I thought every single time something like this happens, I was like, why haven't you always been living this way? Why isn't everyone living this way? Because it's just so much less stressful. And I know we all have so much stress in our lives. So, last question I wanted to answer was several of you commented on how I am, I'm going to California, pay off half my debt thingy. Video is getting long. Is what is going to happen with Sweet Rory, and my neighbor's teenager is going to be taking care of her. Lives literally right next door, and she's 16, so she'll be coming over every day and taking Rory out and feeding her and everything like that. Now, my neighbor and I, Amanda, she and I go for walks almost every day with the dogs. She has 2 dogs, Rosie and Chloe, which are Rory's absolute best friends in the world. Rosie is a boxer, and she is so sweet. She's about Rory's size, and they are absolute best friends. And then she also has a little schnauzer, who's very sweet, but in charge of everybody. And so she even said she'll probably just take Rory on the walks with her. So Rory loves that whole family, and the family loves her, so they are going to very kindly take care of her. And I am just using $40 out of my vacation fund that I've saved to pay the teenager to come over and do that. So short commute for her. She gets a little extra summer spending money. I get someone that I trust to take care of Rory, and I'm not worried about it at all. I can just enjoy California. So I am very excited. I will see you all very, very soon. Bye. Say hi to people. Come here. Come here. Oh, I know. It's a good girl. Yes, she is. She's a good girl. She was sleeping during the whole video. Yeah. She says we sleep. We don't listen to Mama talk. Yep. That's what I get.